around here. They will not be able to think of any jobs that need done. But if you saw the job that needed done, and you suggested it to them, and you named a price, in one sentence you got it all done. My name's Jeff. I noticed your gutters need cleaned out. I'll clean out your gutters for 10 bucks. I said, Jeff, I'm telling you, it'll work. 3 days later, Jeff did not come borrow my ladder. We were in a big church, about 2,000 people, so I didn't get to see him all the time. And I saw Jeff a few weeks later, and I said, hey, Jeff, how's it going? He said, oh, going great. I said, are you still looking for a job? He said, I don't have time to look for a job. I said, why not? He said, don't you remember I started my own company? I said, oh, yeah, that's right. How's it going? He said, Brother Hovind, you wouldn't believe it. He said, I am making $150 a day cleaning out gutters. I was visiting my parents' house one time up in Peoria, Illinois, in Groveland, actually, outside of Peoria. I heard a knock on the door. My mom went to answer the door. This college student standing there had a bucket in his hand with a roll of paper towels in it and a squeegee. He said, hello, ma'am. My name is Tim. I'm putting myself through college. I noticed your windows need cleaned on the house. I will clean out your windows. I will clean off your windows. Don't clean them out. I'll wash your windows for $20, inside and out. My mom said, you're hired. Just like that. Nobody likes to clean windows. Tim went over to the sink, filled up the bucket with water, put in a few drops of Shaklee Basic H, and took the squeegee. He washed the windows, squeegeed them off, got about 90% of the water off with the squeegee, and then used the paper towels to do the corners and keep the squeegee clean. He probably only used 5 or 6 squares of paper towel on the whole house. Some of you could use a whole roll on one window, right? Well, he did a really good job. He was done in 45 minutes. My mom handed him 20 bucks, and he's walking across the front yard. I went out and met him. I said, Tim, can I talk to you for a second? He said, sure. I said, look, I hire lots of high school and college kids to work for me, and I try to teach them how to get self-motivated, how to make money on their own. I said, tell me, Tim, if I could be so bold as to ask, how long you been doing this, and how much money do you make at it? He said, oh, I've been doing it every summer, putting myself through college. He said, I don't like to work during the school year. I just work in the summer, and I make about $5,000 in the summer cleaning windows, and then I can study it during the rest of the school year. Now, if you worked real hard at McDonald's all summer long, you might make 1,500 bucks. But he made 5,000 working for himself. He's a #1 worker. He sees what needs done, and he does it. Look, if you just learn, that's an attitude, a philosophy of life. Some of you can walk in the house. The dishes are running over in the sink. They're piled up 18 feet high. There are none left in the cupboard. You don't even notice. The garbage is running over on the floor. The grass is 7 feet high. The dirt is 4 inches thick on the car. I didn't see it. That's precisely my point. A couple of students at Maranatha Baptist Bible College, I've spoken up there a couple times, great school in Wisconsin. They were doing an experiment. They went in the cafeteria, sat down in the cafeteria, and dropped some paper on the floor, and sat there and watched it to see who would pick it up. Every student in the college, almost every student that came for lunch that day, came in, got their tray, and walked right past the paper and went and sat down. Dr. Winiger, the president of the college, walked in, got his tray, started walking, automatically bent down, picked it up, stuck it in his pocket, and kept on walking. You say, well, he picked it up because he's the president of the college. No. He's the president of the college because he picked it up. Big difference. You want to be the boss? You better learn to see what needs done and do it without being told. That's the first kind of worker. They will make all kinds of money. Look, if you became a #1 worker and you hired in at McDonald's, let's say you already work at McDonald's. I picked that as an example. And you're a #1 worker. The boss says, would you make some French fries? Oh, sure, boss. And you fry the fries. And then you're done. So you look around and you notice the napkin rack is empty. So without being told, you go get the napkins and fill the napkin rack. Then you notice the straws are about gone, so you go fill the straw rack. And then you notice the counters are dirty, so you wipe off the counters. And you notice the cups are about gone in the cup rack, so you go get some more cups and fill it up. If you would learn to spot what needs done and do it without being told, within 6 months, you'll be the assistant manager at that McDonald's. Within 3 years, you will own it. My neighbor in Texas owned 3 McDonald's. He made $30,000 a month off of each one. And you want to work for them for $4 an hour? Have at it. They're making a fortune off of you. And it's fine. Somebody's got to make money, but That's the number one worker. Man, I wish the world had more of those. And this, it not only applies to making money, this applies to seeing what needs done for the Lord's work. Don't you see there's people that need to be saved? Don't you see when somebody's hurting? When there's another student having a rough time, mom and dad are fighting or something's going on, they're having problems at home, or can't you see what needs done? Learn to spot what needs done and do something about it. Some of you, your mom washes the clothes, folds them, well, dries them, then folds them, stacks them up by the bedroom door. You come walking in, step right over them. I didn't see them. Precisely my point. Why didn't you see it? Don't you see what needs to be done? You ought to try this today. Go home and look for at least 3 things you can do that need done. Everybody ought to be able to walk into any room and look around and say, ah, that needs to be done. This needs to be done. There's a piece of tape hanging on the light fixture there from a Halloween party, apparently. Somebody should have pulled that off a year ago. All right, there's a thumbtack still stuck in the wall. Learn to see what needs done and do it. The second kind of worker, number 2. Second kind of worker, he asks what to do next. These kind are pretty rare also. I love these kind. I've had several work for me. They come and ask, okay, boss, what's next? If you get on a McDonald's and you're a number 2 worker, when you get done making the French fries like they told you, you go to the boss and say, okay, boss, I'm done. What's next? Man, those kind will make $10 an hour. They'll make plenty of money. It would be best if they were number 1 and they saw what needed done, but they're not quite that good yet. They're a number 2 worker. They come and ask, okay, boss, what's next? You can at least do that with your parents at home. Hey, Mom, I finished setting the table. What else would you like me to do? Man, those kind are rare. Okay, Lord, I read my Bible. I prayed for the missionaries. What else would you like me to do, Lord? It's just an attitude. It's a way of life. It's a philosophy, a way of living. Being the right kind of worker. Seeing what needs to be done. Or at least asking the boss, okay, what's next? Number 3 workers. This is probably where most of you fit. Number 3 workers must be asked. They won't do anything unless you ask them. You come home from school, plop down in front of the TV. Your mom or dad comes in and says, would you set the table, please? Sure, Mom. You go set the table. When you're done, you go plop down in front of the TV again. Then they come and say, excuse me, would you take out the garbage? Oh, sure, Mom, be glad to. And you go take out the garbage. And then you go plop down in front of the TV. You're not going to ask what you can do to help. You're going to wait until you're asked. If you're a number 3 worker, you will always be an employee. You will never be the boss. Somebody will always be telling you what to do because you won't do it otherwise. I have kids say, I'm tired of parents telling me what to do. All right, be a number 1 worker and they won't tell you what to do anymore. If your parents are bugging you, is your homework done? Is your homework done? Is your homework done? Obviously, you're a number 3. The problem's with you, not with the parents. If your parents have to say, would you make your bed? Would you set the table? Would you cook supper, please? Would you take out the garbage? Would you mow the grass? If they're always telling you what to do, he said, I'm tired. We had one kid at our school in Illinois. He said, I'm tired of my parents telling me what to do. I'm going to join the Marines. Boy, are you brilliant or what, you know? Yeah, the Marine sergeant's going to come in about 10 o'clock in the morning and gently shake you and say, excuse me, it's time to wake up. Would you like your breakfast in bed? Would you like your eggs over medium? Yeah, right. But he did, too. He joined up. Man, he came home. He was the shock of his life. After boot camp, he came home. He was sleeping about 7 o'clock in the morning. They went to our church. His mom came in there, shook him, and he wouldn't wake up, man. He was beat. He'd been in boot camp for 9 weeks, and he was tired. So his mom said, get up, soldier. He jumped up, stood at attention just like that. Boy, they taught him something in there. I don't know what it was. But number 3 workers, they have to be told. They have to be asked. They won't do it unless you ask them. Now, there's a worse